In a time long ago, in the heart of Africa, two proud and noble species coexisted on the vast savanna, the donkeys and the zebras. These creatures, though different in appearance, shared a bond that transcended their differences. They drank from the same watering holes, grazed the same lush grasslands, and looked out for one another. At the heart of their unity were two leaders, Duma the zebra, with his striking black and white stripes symbolizing balance and unity, and Kibo the donkey, celebrated for his strength and unwavering loyalty. One year, a terrible drought struck the land. The rivers dried up, the grass withered, and the animals grew weak and desperate. The once thriving savanna turned into a harsh, unforgiving place. Duma and Kibo knew they had to find a solution to save their herds. Calling a council of the animals, they decided to send emissaries to the nearby human villages, hoping to negotiate for water and food. Kibo, with his gentle nature and persuasive manner, was chosen to approach the humans. He embarked on the perilous journey to the village, each step heavy with the hopes of his head. Upon arrival, Kibo pleaded with the humans for help. The villagers, moved by Kibo's earnest plea and desperate to protect their own livestock, agreed to a pact. They promised to share their water and food with the donkeys and zebras, but there was a condition: the animals must serve the humans in return. Kibo, driven by the desperation of his herd and the looming threat of death, agreed to the terms without consulting Duma. He believed that servitude was a small price to pay for survival. The donkeys, with their natural strength and resilience, quickly adapted to their new roles, carrying loads, plowing fields, and becoming indispensable to the humans. When Kibo returned to the savannah with news of the agreement, Duma felt a pang of betrayal. He had always believed in the wild freedom of their kind, and the thought of submitting to human rule was abhorrent to him. Yet, seeing the condition of his starving herd, he reluctantly agreed to the terms. At first, the arrangement seemed beneficial. The donkeys and zebras received the sustenance they needed, and the humans treated them kindly. However, as time passed, the humans grew more demanding. They placed heavier burdens on the donkeys, and while the donkeys bore the weight with quiet resignation, the zebra spirits began to break. Duma, with his strong sense of pride and independence, watched in agony as his herd lost their wild essence. That night, under a moonlit sky, Duma gathered the zebras. His voice trembled with emotion as he addressed them. "We were born free," he said, his eyes glistening with tears. "Our stripes are a testament to that freedom. I would rather die in the wild than live in bondage." The zebras, moved by Duma's words and fueled by a longing for their lost freedom, agreed to follow him. As dawn approached, Duma led the zebras in a daring escape back to the savannah. Kibo, torn between his loyalty to the humans and his friendship with Duma, tried to persuade the zebras to stay, fearing they would perish without the humans' aid. "Duma, please," Kibo pleaded, tears streaming down his face. "Think of our herds. We need the humans to survive." But Duma's resolve was unshakable. "We were born to be free, Kibo. We cannot live in chains." With heavy hearts, the zebras fled into the wilderness. The humans, angered by the zebras' defiance, took out their frustration on the donkeys, imposing even harsher conditions. Kibo and his herd endured, sacrificing their freedom for the sake of survival. Each burden they carried, every lash they received, was a reminder of the price they paid for the zebra's freedom. Years passed, and the donkeys became fully domesticated, integral to human life and labor. They carried their burdens with a quiet dignity, their eyes always scanning the horizon, yearning for the wild freedom they had lost. Kibo, now old and weary, often gazed towards the distant savannah, remembering his friend and the choice that tore them apart. The zebras, on the other hand, thrived in their wild habitat. They faced dangers and hardships, but their spirits remained unbroken. Their stripes, a symbol of their unyielding spirit, were a constant reminder of the sacrifice they had made for their freedom. One day, many years later, As Kibo lay under the shade of a tree, he heard the distant sound of hooves. With a great effort, he lifted his head and saw a herd of zebras approaching. Leading them was Duma, older but still carrying the same regal presence. Duma walked up to Kibo and nuzzled him gently. "You sacrificed so much for us," Duma said, his voice choked with emotion. "We have not forgotten." Tears filled Kibo's eyes as he looked at his old friend. "It was worth it, Duma. Seeing you free, knowing your spirit remains unbroken, it was worth it." The two friends, once divided by fate, were reunited in a moment of profound understanding. The zebras and donkeys, though their paths had diverged, shared a bond that transcended time and circumstance. The tale of Kibo and Duma was passed down through generations, a poignant reminder of the price of survival and the enduring spirit of freedom. The donkeys and zebras, though separated by fate, remain bound by a shared history of friendship, betrayal, and sacrifice. The donkeys' loyalty to their promise and the zebras' quest for freedom became the defining traits of their species. The donkeys, gentle and dependable, and the zebras, wild and free, carried within them the echoes of a time when they stood together, united in the face of hardship. In the end, the story of Kibo and Duma became a cherished African folktale, teaching young and old alike about the power of sacrifice, the importance of freedom, and the unbreakable bonds of friendship.